It's ironic how love can survive thousands of miles but nearly collapse under the weight of silence. I thought I could handle the distance, the time zones, the unanswered messages, but nothing prepared me for the empty look in his eyes when we finally saw each other again. Ethan stood in front of me at the train station, his breath fogging in the freezing air. He looked older somehow, sharper around the edges, like the months away had carved him into someone new. My chest tightened, because the only thing worse than losing him would be realizing he no longer needed me. "Hey," he said simply, as though "hey" could stitch up the months of quiet between us. "Hey," I echoed, though what I wanted to say was, "Why didn't you fight for me? Why didn't you call more, text more, care more?" But the words stuck in my throat, bitter and heavy. The New York crowd moved around us, their laughter and suitcases echoing against the marble walls. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times during my business trips to California, how I'd run into his arms, how he'd hold me so tightly it would erase the ache of the past year. Instead, we stood 2 feet apart, like strangers waiting for a bus. I forced a smile. "So, you made it?" "Of course I did," Ethan replied, his jaw tightening. "It's New Year's Eve. You didn't think I'd miss this, did you?" The truth was, I had, more times than I wanted to admit. We walked side by side out of the station, our hands buried in our coats, shoulders brushing just enough to remind me he was real. The city was alive with holiday energy lights strung across every lamppost, the scent of roasted chestnuts hanging in the air, couples huddled together for warmth. Everywhere I looked, I saw reflections of the intimacy we had lost. When we finally reached the quiet street near our apartment, Ethan stopped and turned to me. His eyes searched mine, but not in the way they used Tohen. He looked at me like I was the only safe place in the world. No, this look was different, hesitant, guarded. "Are we okay, Daniel?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The question hung between us like smoke. I wanted to say yes, to fall into the comfort of denial. But honesty had been missing for too long. "I don't know," I admitted. My voice cracked, the weight of all those sleepless nights pressing down on me. "I don't know if we're still the same." Ethan's lips trembled. He took a step closer, the toe of his boot brushing mine. "Then let's find out. Tonight. Just let me try." And for the first time in months, hope flickered inside me. We ended up in our apartment. The one we had shared before the distance turned it into nothing more than a storage unit of memories. The familiar smell of cedar from Ethan's cologne lingered in the air. He had kept everything the same, our framed photos on the mantel, the throw blanket I used to steal when he wasn't looking, the Christmas ornament we bought together 2 years ago still hanging sadly from the shelf. He handed me a mug of hot chocolate, his hand brushing mine. The touch sent a shock through me. How could something so simple still feel like electricity? "Do you hate me?" he asked suddenly, his voice raw. I looked up, startled. "What? No, Ethan. I could never." "You could," he interrupted, his eyes glistening. "You could hate me for not being there when you needed me, for letting work come first, for letting you go, even when I promised I wouldn't." The confession hit me harder than I expected. All those months, I thought I was the only one suffering, the only one lying awake at night questioning if love had an expiration date. But here he was, vulnerable and broken in front of me. "I don't hate you," I whispered. I missed you so much it hurt. And sometimes, missing you felt worse than losing you." Ethan set down his mug and reached for my hand. His fingers were trembling. "Then let me make it up to you. Not with promises. Not with excuses. Just with tonight. Can we start there? Something in his voice cracked the last of my defenses. I nodded, tears burning behind my eyes. We didn't kiss right away. Instead, we sat on the couch, our hands entwined like lifelines. We really talked for the first time in months. About the loneliness, the fights over phone calls that never came, the bitterness that grew like weeds between us. And in those confessions, something began to shift. When midnight approached, we walked outside. Snowflakes drifted lazily from the sky, catching in Ethan's hair. The streets glowed with anticipation, people gathering, champagne bottles popping, laughter spilling into the night. And then, as the countdown began, Ethan cupped my face with both hands, his eyes blazing with something I thought I had lost forever. "Daniel," he said, his voice breaking, "I still love you. More than I know how to explain. Please don't let this be the end." The fireworks exploded above us, filling the sky with bursts of color. And for the first time since the silence began, I let myself believe. I kissed him, desperate, trembling, full of every unsent message, every lonely night, every ache we had carried. The city roared around us, but in that moment, it was just us two men who had almost lost each other, finding their way back in the chaos of New Year's Eve. The kiss lingered, long after the fireworks faded. When we finally pulled away, our foreheads stayed pressed together, our breaths visible in the icy air. The world around us was still cheering, strangers embracing, voices echoing through the city. But in that tiny corner of the street, we were our own universe, suspended between heartbreak and healing. Ethan's thumb brushed against my cheek, wiping away a tear I didn't even realize had fallen. His gaze was soft now, no longer guarded, no longer distant. It was the gaze I remembered, the one that told me I was home. "Let's not waste any more time," he whispered. "We already lost enough of it." We walked back to the apartment in silence. But it wasn't the heavy silence of before. It was warm, full of unsaid promises and the quiet rhythm of steps falling in sync. Inside, the room was dimly lit by the faint glow of string lights we had hung the Christmas before everything fell apart. I sank onto the couch, exhaustion washing over me, but Ethan stayed standing, as if unsure of where he belonged. "Sit," I said gently, patting the cushion beside me. He hesitated only for a moment before sinking down, his shoulder brushing mine. I leaned into him, the familiar shape of his body against mine both foreign and desperately missed. "Do you ever wonder," I asked quietly, "what would have happened if we hadn't pushed through tonight? If one of us had just walked away?" Ethan inhaled sharply. "Every day. And the thought killed me. I couldn't let that be our ending. Daniel. Not us." The way he said us broke something inside me. It reminded me of why I had fallen for him in the first place, not because he was perfect, but because he believed in we even when I couldn't. I reached for his hand, threading our fingers together. "I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to keep punishing each other for the time we lost. Can we just start again?" His eyes glistened, and he nodded. "From the beginning. From tonight." We sat there, holding each other, talking until our voices grew hoarse. We shared stories about the loneliness, the petty arguments replayed in our minds, the nights we almost picked up the phone but didn't. Every truth felt like a brick being lifted off our chests, until we were both lighter, freer. At some point, Ethan tugged me closer, resting my head against his chest. His heartbeat was steady, a rhythm I had memorized years ago. Remember our first New Year's Eve together? He asked, his voice husky with nostalgia. I smiled against his shirt. How could I forget? We got stuck in traffic, missed the countdown, and ended up kissing in your car while people honked around us. He chuckled, the sound low and warm. That was when I knew. Even in the worst situations, you made me feel like the luckiest man alive. My throat tightened. Then don't forget it now. Even after everything, I still choose you. The words hung in the air, honest and raw. And then he kissed me again. Slower this time. Not the desperate kind of kiss from before, but a tender one that whispered of tomorrow, of new beginnings. Later, we curled up beneath the throw blanket, our legs tangled, the fireplace crackling in the corner. The city outside buzzed with celebration. But we had found something far more valuable: peace. Ethan traced lazy circles on my arm. I'm going to make changes, he murmured. Less travel. Less chasing things that don't matter. I don't want my career to cost me you. You don't have to prove anything to me, I replied, though my heart swelled at his words. Just be here. That's all I need. I will, he promised. And for once, I believed him. The night stretched on, gentle and quiet. At dawn, the city outside slowed. Fireworks long gone. Snow beginning to pile on the sidewalks. Ethan stirred beside me, his lips brushing against my hair. Happy New Year, Daniel, he whispered. I opened my eyes, sunlight filtering through the curtains. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel empty. I felt whole. Happy New Year, I whispered back, squeezing his hand. And in that simple moment, two men wrapped up in each other. The world waiting outside you found what we thought we had lost. Love wasn't about the months apart, or the nights of silence, or even the pain. It was about choosing again and again. Even when it was hard. Even when it hurt. We had chosen each other once more. And that was enough. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.